All right. So yesterday we talked about the linebackers. The day before we talked about the edge rushers. Today we're going to talk about the defensive back room, specifically the corners, right? We're not really going to talk about safety. There's a different video coming later, but we're going to talk about the corners. And I think there's an interesting question to be had here because a lot of these corners are pretty good, but also it's going to be interesting to see where these guys line up, right? That's the biggest topic of conversation. So like I've done with every other position group, we're going to go through this whole group, boundary corners, nickel corners, all that stuff. And we're going to break this down. First, we're going to start with the players who don't have grades. Parnell Motley, not much on him. He's a rookie or a free agent kind of camp guy out of Oklahoma. Not much to say about him. We got Reggie Robinson, again, another guy who's just going to be in for camp. Herb Miller, well, not Herb Miller. Sean Jolly is somebody to watch out for. Got a bigger than normal, I think, undrafted free agent contract. Should factor in there as slot. I mean, he's 5'9". He's not going to be able to play anywhere but slot. We'll see what happens there. I think he could be the potential MJ Stewart replacement because the Browns are missing that special teams guy / occasional blitzer / nickel corner. You know, he's not going to start there, but he could get some reps. I wouldn't expect him, obviously, undrafted free agent. I would not expect to play significant time here. Then we're going to go to Herb Miller. Played last year, had a grade of 37.2, coverage grade of 34.6, but only 3 coverage snaps, 9 snaps total. So a invalid sample size, to say the least. He was drafted in 2019 out of Florida Atlantic. He's another guy who's going to try to make the team when it comes to special teams. And I think we know Martin's going to make the team. And I think there's a good chance that Sean Jolly makes the team. I think, Herb is probably battling for a spot between Parnell, Reggie, and himself, right? Like, I think those 3 guys are probably battling for a spot. Browns tend to keep at least 6 corners. I believe it's 6 corners they kept last year and the year before. I think they'll keep 6 again. We'll see how this breaks out this year. Well, yeah, Herb Miller, another guy, is going to be competing for a role, probably going to be in a lot of the fourth quarter of the preseason games. All right, let's go to the next corner here. And much like the linebacking room, right? You got a bunch of guys at the bottom that aren't going to really factor into snaps, but you got 4 main people in this DB room that are going to rotate in that you feel really good about if they're in the game. Martin Emerson, the rookie out of Mississippi State. He's 6'2", 201. I have my qualms about a young corner or a young and tall corner. I think tall corners tend to have a worse time transitioning to the NFL, especially on the outside. And, I think that's probably where they're going to play Martin. I know there were some talks of putting him in a slot, but expecting a rookie who's never played slot in college to just step up and play slot in the NFL, that's just unrealistic, right? Like, that would be like, I mean, they didn't even let JOK play middle linebacker last year, and he's JOK. I don't think they're going to let Martin Emerson play slot, and that there's similar amounts of responsibilities there. That being said, Martin's role is probably going to be boundary situational corner. I don't think we're going to see much of Martin this year, right? You might see him in some DB heavy packages, some light packages, some dime coverages where they need extra DBs out there, and they probably just have a bunch of them out. I think you can see him in there. Some special goal line situations, I can really see the Browns utilizing him in nickel fronts, especially against tight ends. So I think there are some situations here where you're going to see Martin Emerson, but I think he is going to be a situational guy. So when it comes to a snap count, he'll probably be 4th on the list of snaps, right? I don't think he's going to get more than like maybe 200, 250 snaps this year. They're going to be very situational snaps, red zone snaps, maybe some third down stuff. Maybe if they're struggling with the tight end, they go to him in the second half. But I don't expect Martin to play a huge role on this defense, even though I can see him emerging above it. But at 21 years old, he's super young, super raw. I don't expect him to step up and be ready day one. All right, the next guy when it comes to the PFF grade is Greedy Williams. Was 48th out of all 116 corners, 64.6. Had a 44.2 run defense grade, which is expected from Greedy, unfortunately. And then a 68.8 coverage grade. Now, when I get to Greg Newsome, there's going to be even more conversation about Greedy. Greedy did play a lot this year. He was fourth on the team in snaps, had about 591 snaps, most of them in coverage. Obviously, you don't want to have Greedy out there too much in run defense. The big book on Greedy has been his inability to play zone. I think he was better in zone last year. He's always been a pretty good man corner. I mean, coming out of LSU, that's kind of what they teach you. But his inability to kind of be trustworthy in zone has been a problem for him, right? And it pops up every now and again. Even when he does play solid, sometimes he has mental lapses. Sometimes he just struggles for whatever reason out there when he's left on the island. So that's something to look out for. But Greedy being your third to fourth corner, and then there's another guy we're going to talk about who actually has the highest grade, doesn't have a qualifying sample, but has the highest grade that might be coming for his spot. But Greedy, depending on what they do with Greg Newsome, might have an opportunity here, or at least an opportunity for an opportunity. But again, Greedy being number 4 debatedly on your DB list, and you have another guy, third round pick coming in that you like, you're pretty good here at defensive back here. I think this is probably one of the strongest groups on the team. All right. So now we're going to go with the next highest grade, which is Greg Newsome II. Came in with a 68.1 Pro Football Focus grade, and had a 70.6 coverage grade and 410 coverage snaps. So pretty good chunk of coverage snaps. He was pretty good last year. 32nd out of all 116 corners that played last year. So pretty high ranking there for Greg. I like Greg. I think Greg is a boundary corner. I don't know what this move to the inside is going to do for him. I understand they feel like he's limited in certain ways, but I feel like he's limited in the same ways that Martin Emerson is, except for that he's quicker. I don't know. To me, I would not put Greg Newsome on the inside. I think you would be getting much less out of Greg Newsome. Not saying he wouldn't be good at it, but I think you would be getting much less out of Greg Newsome in that position, in my opinion. I think you would probably have more value in a division where there are boundary wide receivers galore. You know, you got Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, all 3 of the Bengals wide receivers. And then there's the Ravens, but the point still stands. Those 2 teams that you're going to have to play 2 times. It's 4 of your games. It's a quarter of the season. Well, it used to be a quarter of the season that you're going to be playing really good wide receivers, and then you can add on top of the list of teams you'll be playing. I think it makes more sense to keep Greg on the outside, but they're going to put him inside sometimes, and they're going to try that. It's pretty clear that that's what they're going to want to do with him. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Because if you put Greg in the inside, it means either Greedy or AJ Green's going to have to play on the outside. I don't know if I love that more than I just like having Greg Newsome on the outside. But I understand when they traded Troy Hill, which, I'm starting to wonder why they did that. You kind of put yourself in this hole. Now, they traded Troy Hill, so that tells me internally they have a plan. It's just for me from the outside looking in, I have not seen what that plan is, so I don't feel great about it. But we'll see what this looks like during camp. But yeah, Greg's pretty solid corner. Had a really good rookie year, the 70.6 coverage grade. That's only a few away from what Denzel Ward did in coverage, and Denzel Ward's one of the best. So excellent job there by Greg. I think you're fine there. He's a stud. You got a guy like Denzel Ward coming in with a 76.9 Pro Football Focus grade on 691 snaps, and had 855 snaps. My apologies. With a 75.9 coverage grade. There's not much else to be said. And one of the things with Denzel Ward also I think gets slept on, 75.6 run defender and 77.6 pass rush grades. Now, only 4 pass rush snaps, so take that with a grain of salt. But The run defending stuff, right? 321 run defense snaps was really good. I mean, this is why Denzel Ward allows the Browns. Like, there are a couple guys on this defense that allow the Browns to do a lot of different things. I think if you go from top to bottom, the most versatile or the most pivotal guys when it comes to that is Myles Garrett, obviously, JOK, hopefully, and then Denzel Ward for sure. Because Denzel, you can put Denzel on his own side, let him have his own coverage thing, and then you don't have to worry about anything there, right? Because he can crash down on the screen, he can tackle well. That's really underrated with Denzel Ward, how good of a tackler and how good of a run defending corner he is, because he's not a big guy, but he plays big. He's always played big, even going back to his time at Ohio State, and I think that's continuing to show here. Denzel's a stud. Look, sometimes he has lapses in coverage. He's not the best corner, like cover for cover in the NFL, right? Like, I don't think he is better in just a straight up man, off the line, close coverage, like, like straight up coverage, like Marlon Humphrey, right? Marlon Humphrey's probably one of the best at it. I don't think he's at that level of a coverage corner. But what he is really good at is understanding his zones, understanding his fits, understanding where the ball is going to be, understanding and anticipating screens and stuff like that. He's a more well-rounded corner than most corners are, and that's what makes him so valuable to this team. And I think a little bit underrated here. So that's Denzel Ward. Now, you might be surprised here that we have one more corner left to go. Man, I'm going by, lowest to highest Pro Football Focus grade. So who is higher than Denzel Ward? A.J. Green III, not the wide receiver, the corner out of Oklahoma State. Been with the Browns for a couple of years. Got a bigger than normal undrafted free agent contract. He's probably coming up near the end of that. And he put up some pretty solid numbers. Now, not a qualifying amount of snaps, right? Only 176 snaps. Not a little bit of snaps, though, right? Like, that's almost 200, and 200 qualifies you, right? 116 coverage snaps. And he had a 90.3 coverage grade. So whatever situation they were putting A.J. Green in, they felt really good about the performance that he got. Had an 86.2 overall grade from Pro Football Focus, which is like one of the highest you can get. So the thing with A.J. Green here, and look, I know we all look at Greedy and go, okay, well, Greedy's probably going to be on the outside if Greg goes inside. I think it might be more likely that this team goes A.J. Green on the outside if they put Greg on the inside, because they feel like when they put A.J. Green on the outside, he's a really, really good boundary corner. And they think they can get Greg to be on the inside and be a really, really good slot corner. And maybe that's the thinking on putting Greg Newsome on the inside. Either way, I would expect A.J. Green, given how well he played in his sample size, to get far more than 176 snaps next year. I think Greedy snaps are probably going to drop from about 600 to 200, and I think you're probably going to see AJ snaps go from like 176 to about 350 to 400, with MJ getting about 100 to 200 snaps in there. They're going to be rotating these guys in and out all game. A lot of guys are going to see a lot of playing time because the Browns have 5 corners that you can see getting playing time. Not a lot of teams have that. So, and that's just corners. I'm not even including safeties or anything like that. The Browns obviously have good depth at safety as well. So we'll see how Joe Woods chooses to put this whole thing together. But Joe Woods, a famous defensive back coach, loves his DBs. Now he has all the foods he wants. He has an entire buffet at his disposal. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with that. So if I had to give this cornerback room a grade, just the corners, I would say this is an A+ room. Pretty damn good. Not perfect, but pretty good. So A. There's some room for improvement. Maybe have a more concrete plan at slot, and this would have gotten there. Or maybe if I had just a little bit more confidence in either Greedy or AJ Green to lock down that other boundary side. If they're gonna, the boundary or field side, if Greg's gonna move inside. But given that there's still enough there to be fairly confident that they're gonna have a credible solution there, I'm not tripping too much about it. So yeah, A. I will give it an A. Let me know what you will give it in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. You have a great day. Have a good night.